it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you a brief wrap-up of the 6 books I've read so far in September. They've been stacking up, and I want to get them back to the library, so I figured I'd just do a very quick rundown of them. So let's just get right into it. The first book I finished in September was A Time of Love in Tartan by Alexander McCall Smith. This is the 12th book in the 44 Scotland Street series, so I won't tell you too much about it because it'll spoil stuff that happened earlier in the series. But basically, this series follows a group of people. They all started out at the beginning of this series having lived in the apartment building 44 Scotland Street, and now some of them have moved out, and so it's expanded its range. But the center of the story has always been Bertie Pollock, who is a 70-year-old boy who lives at 44 Scotland Street, and we've been following the continuing story of his life and of his parents' life, and this book sort of felt like an ending. I feel like this might be the very last one, although it didn't say anything officially, but just how it wrapped up in the story. We see Bertie and his parents sort of coming to some natural endings and things like that. So it's just a really lovely series. I highly recommend it if you're ever looking for like a slice of life series that you want to really sink your teeth into. Because like I said, there's 12 books and they're all really lovely. Then read 2 issues of Giant Days. I read volume 5 and volume 6. I was reading one a month, but I just felt like reading another one once I finished volume 5, so I picked up volume 6. And these follow Esther, Daisy, and Susan, and of course there's 3 girls going to college, and it's set in England, and they all live together. They're roommates, and they're just really fun girls, and I really enjoy getting to follow their lives and the lives of their friends, and I'm really looking forward to, I think in October I'm going to do a binge of volume 7, 8, and the new extra credit volume, and then I'll be caught up with the series. So yeah, I just really love this graphic novel series, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a new graphic novel series to start. I then read The Thoughts and Happenings of Wilfred Price, Purveyor of Superior Funerals by Wendy Jones. This is an interlibrary loan. As you can see, it's got the big sticker on it. Unfortunately, this was a big disappointment to me. I thought this was going to be like something that I absolutely loved based on the description. This takes place in 1924 Wales, which is, part of England, and Wilfred Price is the local undertaker, and of course he does the funerals and he makes coffins and does all that kind of stuff. But one day he's out on a picnic with this girl Grace, and he is so taken in by her beauty and by the romantic setting that he decides to propose to her, and he asks her to marry him, and she of course accepts, and she goes home and tells her parents, and everybody, it's a small town, so people start to find out, and then after they start finding out, Wilfred is like, oh wait, I've made a huge mistake. I am not actually in love with her. I was just, swept in by the romantic setting, so I decided I don't want to marry you. And so he goes to Grace and tells her that he doesn't want to marry her. He's very apologetic, he thinks, and he tells her he's made a mistake, blah, blah. He thinks that's the end of the story. But Grace does not tell her parents, and so she turns out to be pregnant, and she tells her parents she's pregnant, and they assume, of course, it's Wilfred. And because of the nature of a small town, he is forced to marry Grace, even though he is not the father of her child. And this is kind of a big deal, not only because he doesn't love her, but because after he broke up with her, he started seeing this other girl, Flora, and he's in love with Flora now, and so it's a huge disappointment, and it's about how their marriage and like what happens and the drama that happens because of this unwanted pregnancy, and you find out how Grace got pregnant and the father of her child, and it's kind of, okay, the book calls it a comedy of errors, and so it sounds like it's going to be like a funny rom-com, and it's going to be like, oh no, Wilfred had to get engaged, and then he's broken up, and this other girl comes on the picture, blah, blah, blah. This book is not funny at all. It's very depressing, actually, especially for the girl, Grace. And Grace is sort of like, you don't really feel sympathy for her, but then you do, and you feel sympathy for Wilfred, and I don't know, it's just, it's kind of hard to explain without giving big spoilers, but it's not a happy book at all. It's depressing. And, I thought this was going to be a book where I immediately wanted to pick up the sequel, but it isn't. I don't know if I will ever pick up the sequel. And I ended up giving this 2 stars, and I thought this was going to be like a 4-star book, something that I really loved and wanted to reread again. But yeah, it was just a big disappointment, and I can't say I recommend it because, again, it's kind of a depressing story, and bad things happen in this book, and even at the end when it's sort of a happy ending, but it's not really a happy ending because not everybody gets a happy ending. So, yeah, I don't really recommend this, sad to say. I then read my Jane Austen mystery for the month, Jane and the Barque of Frailty, and in this one, Jane is solving a mystery in London. A Russian princess has been found dead on the doorstep of a local Tory politician, and there's some scandalous letters that have been written between the two of them, and so Jane is trying to figure out what really happened, and there's some people that say that the princess was murdered, but then there's some people that say she committed suicide, and so Jane is getting to the bottom of the case, and Jane is somehow, I won't tell you how, but she's found to be guilty of the murder, and so she is got, this big incentive to figure out who really killed the princess. But yeah, this was a really great story, and as the last few have been sort of connecting together, and this one is not as connected to the others as like the last 2 were, but it still would help if you read them in order. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this series, and I'm actually reading book 10 right now because I'm trying not to read one in November because I want to read just nonfiction books in November. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying this, and I'm really enjoying book 10 as well. And then I read Gutenberg's Apprentice by Alix Christie. This I read on audio. I listened to it on audio because it was my last audiobook from Audible that I needed to listen to before I could totally, I'm done with all the books there, and I deleted the Audible app off my phone and all that. This is a historical fiction novel about Peter Scheffer, and he lives in Mainz in Germany in the 1400s, and he's apprenticed to Johannes Gutenberg, who of course created the Gutenberg's Bible, and Peter is kind of annoyed because he was actually working at a local university, and he was described to the head of the university, and so he was very high up, and he was having a lot of say in what books are being published and things like that, and his father makes him come back to Mainz to work in Gutenberg's workshop, so he sort of loses all of his progress that he's made, and he starts back up as being a very basic apprentice. But then, over the course of we see his life and apprenticeship over the course of a few years, and we see the progress of the printing of the Bible, and then Peter is also dating this young girl, and so we see his romance and things like that. And it's sort of about how he starts out being very resentful of having to work in the shop, and then eventually he starts to see it as God's will for his life, and then towards the end of the book, he and Gutenberg sort of have a falling out, so we get to see that. And this whole story takes place, it's set up like he's telling the story to a scribe who's writing his story down 30 years after it happened, so it's a look back on his life. So yeah, but it's a really interesting book. It's been a while since I read a pure historical fiction. Unfortunately, I gave it 2 stars. I think that was partially because I listened to this on audio, and the narrator was very slow, and it was it got really tedious because it goes into the minutia of printing and the minutia of their workshop, and it just was very slow going, and so I only gave it 2 stars. So I don't necessarily recommend it on audio. It might be really good in print, but it was just okay. It wasn't anything spectacular, so I can't say I really recommend it unless you have a particular interest in learning about the making of the Gutenberg Bible. I also will say there's a lot of discussion of the political climate because in that age in Mainz and in this whole area of Germany, the elders, which were the elite and the church, didn't have to pay taxes, but they were very wealthy, and so there was this break between the working class people and the guilds, and then the church and the rich people. So it's sort of convoluted, and you don't always understand what's going on, but it was still really interesting. I learned a lot, but it was very slow going, and I'm glad I'm done with it. So that's all I've read so far in September. I'm working on 4 other books right now. I don't know if I'm going to get all 4 of them done before the end of the month. I've sort of been on a movie watching kick, and I've also been still watching Dirt Gently, although I had to take it back to the library because there was a hold on it for a while. But I'm back to watching it, and I'm going to be caught up pretty soon and be finished with the series, so that'll be exciting. But I have been in a movie watching mood lately, partially because none of the books I'm reading right now are particularly gripping, so I've sort of been putting off reading them. But anywho, I hope everybody's been reading some great books lately, and I'll be back again soon. Bye!